guys? Welcome back to another episode of Soul Therapy, the podcast. My name is Juan.
Daytona.
Daniel.
And then today's episode, we'll be talking about two topics. The first one being Groovyroom creating their new record label, Area, and the OG legendary artist Beenzino joining E SENS' label, BANA. As usual, if you guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast on all streaming platforms. And don't forget to give us that 5-star rating on Apple. Also, for more contents, please go and follow us on all socials at soul_therapy. Okay, so to kick off today's episode, let me give you guys like a brief background. Basically, Groovyroom, who is currently under J Park's label H1GHR, created another label called Area. And while this is Groovyroom's project or label, it's still considered a sub-label of H1GHR. So I believe Jay and Groovyroom have this partnership to, raise and promote these artists together. So, what do you guys think? Do you think this relationship will work?
For me, I think it'll work amazingly well. Just because, we've seen this before with Illionaire Records and with Ambition Music as a sub-label, but I think this is something that's really new and interesting because you're creating another sub-label under a sub-label, I would say. Because
it's interesting.
But that's just my opinion because people can just say Higher Music is just another label or a sub-label, but I really think it's a sub-label, and Groovyroom creating another sub-label, I think they might be the first label to actually create another sub-label under a sub-label, which is really interesting. And although it's very fairly new, I would still think that it's really amazing, and I think it's going to work well just because it's Groovyroom, right? Everybody loves Groovyroom, and I think Groovyroom is at the point where they've established themselves as one of the elites in the Korean hip hop scene as a producer, and I think this is going to expand the Korean hip hop community because I remember in our previous episodes, Daytona would always mention how the Korean hip hop is way too small; it needs to expand. And I think this could be a sign where the Korean hip hop community becomes bigger because you're creating another label that's under a sub label.
It's a double sub label. Yeah.
Yeah. So why not? Other labels can do that too with VMC starting a sub label, and I think it could be a trend in the Korean hip hop scene. And
I guess.
With two artists in Gemini and Mirani, I think that's a really good start. So you get one kind of an R&B fusion style, and then you get more of a hip hop style with Mirani. So I think at the end of the day, this is a really good start for Higher Music and Groovyroom. So I don't. This is just me, but I don't know about you guys.
I see. So Daytona, what do you think? The relationship. I mean, especially in the Korean culture, this could be pretty interesting, right? There's a 사장님, which is a CEO, and then there's another 사장님, the CEO under it.
The fact that there's a sub-label under a sub-label is interesting, but also it is a bit different in a sense because if you look at it, Higher Music and AMG have the same CEO, which is J Park.
True.
So in a sense, we called it sub-label because it was the second company to be made, not because necessarily the second company is actually under the wing of the first company. You know what I mean? So Higher Music was created later, but it is not exactly under AOMG. They just share the same CEO.
It's a separate label.
Yeah, but Higher Music has Groovyroom as an artist.
Exactly.
And that artist is becoming a CEO for another sub-label.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to business perspective, and I'm sure I think you would be better informed on this one because you majored into that. But from what I see, this is a very safe way to expand your business.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what.
Yeah, because look, there's always going to be trouble when you're managing a company, especially a record label, especially when it comes to the whole celebrity Hollywood thing, because there's a certain very uncertainty in commodity. Because like once your artist does something wrong morally or legally, like shit tanks, right? This is a very volatile industry. And from what I know, because Groovyroom is a CEO of Area, but they are also contracted under Higher Music. Like whenever they need help, for example, crisis management, just like I said, it's basically going to be Higher Music infrastructure that is going to be used.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I right on this one?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And
yeah,
no, it's a good move. It's really a good move in terms of business, I think, for sure.
Yeah. When it comes to business, there's nothing wrong with this. And there's also the point that they are producers. They're not rappers.
Right.
They're producer CEOs. We never had producer CEOs. I mean, of course, The Quiet produces his own beats a lot of the times, but he's known first as a rapper. Groovyroom is not known as a rapper. They're strictly production, right?
True.
So I never saw this before. I never saw a case where I saw producers leading crews. I saw producers heading up certain cliques, but not a record label, right?
True.
I don't know. I feel like there was like a small one, like few in the past. I feel like, but they just didn't become too big.
Yeah, it wasn't this significant because I cannot actually remember any of them off the top. Cha-Cha Malone is CEO of Higher Music too, but
so that kind of counts, I guess.
Yeah, but
true.
Yeah,
he's doing it with J Park, right?
Yeah.
So it is a very safe strategy when it comes to business expansion, and I guess it all comes down to how much talent does Groovyroom have, not just musically, but being like recognizing future talent.
True.
Mirani was a good choice. Like,
for sure.
She's on fire right now.
Agreed.
Yeah. She's single-handedly almost, along with Mush Venom, like resurrecting the Show Me the Money 9 season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That stage was incredible. Still, I think it's incredible. It's just very interesting, like to see a producer group heading the creative division, like the creative side, totally. Like I never seen this before. At least not to this.
Yeah, you're right. Do you guys remember Prime Boy? I think his name was Prime Boy.
Yeah,
never heard of him.
Yeah. So I remember he had a small label, and Noel.
It's called Prima Music. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah. Prima Music. So Noel used to be part of that label too before he joined Indigo Music.
Yeah.
So there were cases.
Yeah. There was a case.
Yeah, there were cases of a producer leading a label, but like Daniel mentioned initially, Groovyroom is a significant. It's like a household name in the K-hip hop scene, almost.
Exactly.
Like a producer, So them starting a label is something huge. And even when you look at the lineup, I mean, I know they only have 2 artists right now, but like Gemini, for example, he seems like a very global type of artist. You know what I mean?
That's basically what I think J Park is trying to do through all of its
for sure
conglomerates, I guess.
Yeah. So like even Gemini, when I was looking at him, like I feel like he's really targeting, or they're really targeting more of a global market rather than just Korea, for example. So that diversity is really nice, and I can't wait to see which more artists they reveal in the coming months. Because I'm sure they have like a list on hand.
Can I make a quick theory? I believe the next artist that Groovyroom will sign is Mush Venom. I just have this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just have this huge feeling.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's either him going to Area or him going to Daytona. It's one of the two.
Yeah,
but I don't know. For some reason, Mush Venom just seems very viable option to Area because of the close relationship that he has with Groovyroom.
Another artist that I could think of right now, on top of my head, is Park Hyunjin from High School Rapper 4 right now.
Yeah,
that boy definitely is going to be signed by someone for sure. I just feel like is he's gonna end up somewhere in Jay's wing, whether it's area, higher, wherever it is. Like he's just gonna end up in that wing, you know.
Like my money's
I wouldn't
on
be
area.
surprised.
Yeah. So that'd be like another. Do you have any suggestions, Daytona, that you might see that might join area?
Area.
It's
Actually,
difficult. I mean, it's a fairly new label, so.
Remember that conversation we had about Korean labels becoming kind of crews instead of labels?
Yeah.
And how like Daytona Records is trying to break that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think J Park is trying to go in the opposite direction.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying because there are very, very, very many positive aspects of going the way it is still going right now.
For sure.
So when it comes to who is going to go into area and who is going to go into the AOMG empire, I guess, you kind of see what kind of artist is going to go in there. I want Daytona Entertainment to be a bit more adventurous and pick whatever person that is talented, while J Park curates it for a way more mainstream appeal.
That's true.
That's the way I want to see this scene going. And in that sense, there was this kid in High School Rapper that's very good at singing. The one who's friends with the dreaded guy. Who was it?
Lee
Sang-jae.
Isangjin.
Isangje. I think he's going to go to. I think he is a viable candidate. Like he has that mainstream appeal, and J Park always likes very motivated artists who are trying to like get it out of the grind. You know,
for sure.
Like I think he has more affinity towards. Not saying it's bad at all, please, because there's some people that might think that, but that has a way simpler work ethic. That has a more Jay-Z vibe rather than a Nas vibe. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Jay favors that. Jay favors like that started from the bottom and trying to make it to the top. That Illinois mentality.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, J Park is very fond of that, and I think that is the common ethos that penetrates all of the AOMG artists.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think of that. That's so true.
Yeah, because there is like not again just because it is such a kind of sensitive era right now where any word can be convoluted into weird connotations. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying that AOMG artists tend to have that hustler mentality as a very common factor. And I think Jay likes that in an artist. He wants to have an artist that consistently puts out music rather than an artist that is more artsy in a sense, that's trying to carefully craft out albums, but an artist that can make hits. That can like consistently put out work through a rigorous work ethic. And Isang just seems like the kid that will do that.
For sure.
Yeah. Another pick? Our Real Goat, maybe?
Who?
Okay.
Our Real Goat.
That's an interesting.
Our Real Goat.
Yeah, because he puts out work all the time too.
No, that's true.
Yeah, no, he has a very handsome kind of vibe going with him too. He fits with that common ethos. So yeah, I think Our Real Goat. He was on the Higher Music compilation too. So
right, and then Groovyroom was actually the one that introduced him to J Park. So
that too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. To Our Real
my
Goat.
pick is Isangjae or Our Real Goat.
Yes.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, it's an exciting move. I feel like there's so many labels and crews these days. Like I feel like everyone has one under their pocket, to be honest, you know. So like Groovy making one that's not a big news, and even Daytona, like they've been announcing a new artist quite often these days, you know? And they have a lot of them were producers, like Futuristic Swaver, Mellow, Brady Street, Skinny Brown, Toy, like like it's almost like everyone has their own thing these days. So it's no surprise that Groovyroom made area, and honestly, best of luck to them. I feel like they have a different vision compared to more local labels out here. I really feel like they have a different vision from what I see. So, kudos to them, and, I wish them the best of luck. And we have another label, BANA, having a huge artist joining.
My goodness.
Yes.
Insane.
So Beenzino joining E SENS. What do you guys think about
this
that?
This was insane.
Why, Daytona? Why? Why was it so insane?
To make a states comparison, I'm sorry I do this a lot of the times, but it's really convenient in portraying the message. This is like Drake joining TDE. This is like Drake going to Aftermath Records and teaming up with Kendrick.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
This is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Bonafide, Beenzino is the quintessential superstar of this era. Like, he symbolizes he symbolized so much within the Korean scene because, like, although there always have been commercially successful rappers before, Beenzino was the kind of rapper that fused the commercial with the artistic so seamlessly that it made hip-hop and, like, he changed hip-hop and how the general public perceives hip-hop. You know what I mean? Before, and he did it through numbers. Like, he didn't have a major record label backing him. He had Illinois Records, but they're not major in a sense, like they're like Sony Entertainment backed or something like that. And from a guy that comes from an independent label and make music, it really starts from the bottom, goes to the top without any media like support, and managed to just change the culture is exactly what hip hop is about. And he's the first one to show that properly. And of course, BANA always had incredible artists like E SENS, especially, who is my favorite rapper and a lot of people's favorite rapper.
Agreed.
Yeah, because E SENS represents the fundamentalist. E SENS, although he doesn't really like this label, he kind of default does. Like, because his album, The Anecdote, is considered the Illmatic of hip hop.
Classic.
So E SENS has always been the kind of player that does kind of well on the charts, not exactly superstar status, but he is the quintessential, kind of the heart of the culture kind of guy.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. He represents the spiritual, the more, the ideological side of Korean hip hop, while Beenzino represents where hip hop can go, like the idealism within hip hop, right? So to see rappers that are the best in their respective spectrums, the spectrums within Korean hip hop, come together into a single label. This is like seeing the Avengers team up for the first time.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
People lost their shits, including me, when I saw that. Damn, he's going to Beats and Natives alike. That's short BANA.
Yeah,
like
Beats and Natives alike.
This is crazy. Like, but then it makes so much sense because Beenzino was always the kind of person that managed to be commercially successful without making commercial music.
Yeah, true.
I mean, of course, his music has a commercial sensibility, but he makes all these weird left field shits all the time in his albums, and he still managed to top the charts. So artistically, it makes sense. It's just that nobody really thought of this before. Like what I expected from Beenzino, like after he got out of Illinois Records, was that maybe he's just really going to go full independent.
That's what I thought too.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Because he has IAP Studios anyway, so he has consistent revenue coming in from that. Although they're not exactly a record label,
but he can make it into a record label technically, as a company.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But if you think about it, Beenzino is not exactly a businessman.
No.
He's the exact type of artist that's like, man, I hate this business shit. He's not like Jake Park. He's not like The Quiet. Like, he's like, I just want to make my music, man. Like, all this other business stuff, like having to like talk to like putting them on streaming services, all the additional advertisement marketing. he's the type of guy to not give a shit about that.
True.
And he needs a record label that is going to do that for him. He's like he's like the quintessential and almost stereotypical artist, not in the sense that the art that he makes is cliched, but how the image we have what an artist will be like as in person. So he was always going to have he needs a record label because all he wants to do, in my opinion, was to be creative and nothing more.
Just music, yeah.
And in that sense, BANA is perfect because BANA is not a record label that badgers its artists.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that other record labels do that, but BANA is like, you know what? Do whatever you want to. You make your shit, and we're going to advertise it for you.
For sure.
There are downsides. No, wait. Go on.
No, go ahead. Finish it.
There are good aspects of this and bad aspects of this. BANA is the record label that is like more really of a support system rather than a revenue system.
Yeah.
Like, they're not like AOMG or Daytona in the sense they want their artists to keep consistently making music. They're more the artists. They're the type of record label that, you know what? We're not going to consistently put out music, but when we really do put out music, we're going to capitalize on that as much as we can.
Exactly.
So that's a different kind of business model. So which means that there's going to be a very continuous revenue stream for other record labels, while BANA is more like, when you drop, and we're going to make a very big deal out of it. And that's exactly the kind of artist Beenzino is. Beenzino is not known for kind of putting music out consistently. He just drops album out of the blue, disappears for about 2 years, and drops another one and disappears again.
Yeah.
BANA's the best choice. We just never thought about it because there's already E SENS on the label.
Yeah.
And you really... Like, this is such a mind-blowing thing. This is like seeing Nas and Jay-Z on the same Def Jam records all over again.
True. And to piggyback off on what Daytona just said brilliantly, man, I did not see this coming. Because again, I almost thought, I kind of see BANA as more of like this obscure label that kind of just does its own duty, know?
For sure, yeah.
They don't want to promote themselves too much. I don't even see them promoting their stuff out. They just throw their projects onto their website and they just leave it there. They're like, this artist SoundCloud stuff is on there.
Fans still go crazy though.
Yeah.
There are some diehard fans for BANA, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. I think those are the, like you guys mentioned, the big fans of BANA. And I think that's really cool. I respect that a whole lot just because it makes you, in my opinion, more authentic. And it kind of just shows that idea of freedom. You can do whatever you want, but just kind of like
100% creative control.
Yeah. Just stay true to yourself and just, know your limits, kind of balance it out in a way. So, man, dude, I have nothing else to say, but dude, Beenzino to BANA is insane. It's just crazy.
I feel like some of the global K-hip hop fans may not be too aware of a label called BANA because like Daytona and Daniel, like you mentioned, like, beasts and natives alike, this label BANA is not really a promotional label. They don't do crazy marketing. The main artist is E SENS and XXS, or those two guys are like their main artists. I think. I heard Masta Wu. Do you guys remember Masta Wu from back in the day?
Masta Wu went in there too.
He joined. So this is more of like a I wouldn't say traditional, but like more like a traditional, like second generation K-hip hop label. You know what I mean? These are like some of the original core Korean hip hop fans go crazy for.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think to these diehard Korean hip hop fans, at least, this news was like you said, it's like Drake joining Kendrick kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was huge, and I'm actually curious what their direction would be like because as much as I love E SENS, Triple X, and Beenzino's music, I haven't seen too much of a global movement from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're artists. They're literally artists. Yeah.
It's more like
they throw out their music and art, and they don't care. They just throw out their music and art, like just like you said, Daytona. They just throw out their art and music, and if you want to listen to it, do it. If you don't, that's cool. Like that's kind of like a vibe that I get from them. You know?
Yeah, like one thing we have to see is that BANA's business model comes out from commodity in the sense that, like, for example, E SENS sold more albums than any rapper in the history of Korean hip hop.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the kind of thing I think BANA is going for. Like, for example, of course, the total revenue, like when we like think about streaming revenues, when we think about concert revenues, there's going to be record labels that earn much more money than them, than BANA. But what was really astounding for me is that E SENS's albums are always sold out, even if they print a whole lot of them. Yeah, and that's a similar case for Triple X, and probably going to be what BANA is looking for in Beenzino records as well. Now, what this entails is that this is not just in hip hop. When E SENS, his second album Stranger came out, he sold. I might not be exactly correct on this, so you might have to look it up. But according to my from what I know, he sold the most records than the entire Korean music scene, not the Korean hip hop scene, if we exclude K-pop.
Wow,
that's crazy. E SENS. Yeah. But I'm not talking about streaming revenues. I'm just talking about physical CD copies. And that's crazy because that enough is a very impressive feat. But a physical CD is also when it comes to just a single unit commodity, that's the one that gives the artist the most revenue. The streaming services give 10 cents for each 10 cents. Like they're fucking bullshit.
Yeah, less than that, I think. Yeah.
So selling physical CDs are a very big deal, especially in the Korean indie music scene, like independent music scene.
Yeah.
And this makes E SENS kind of like the default underground king.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think that's what BANA is going for. They don't they don't want their music to go super mainstream.
Yeah.
And the artists maybe with the exception of Kim Shimya, because Kim Shimya seems to have a little bit of a mainstream thirst, but like artists like Beenzino, E SENS, Masta Wu don't exactly do it for charts.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is more virtuous, because there's nothing wrong with wanting to top the charts at all.
Yeah.
But it is just that BANA is the kind of record label is like, you know what? I'm not going to give you a hit. I'm not going to help you make the number one song in the fucking world. But what I can provide to you is that I can give you a stable career where you can do anything with your music and still make a living out of it.
Exactly.
So instead of giving you a hot 2-year, very top of the world boost, I can give you a 20-year career instead. That's the thing that BANA is going for. They're looking at a very long-term perspective of being a real partner for a musician that just has a core fan base and making sure they can keep putting out music. And, maybe in the process, they get lucky, they blow up. If they don't, fine. We don't care. Because BANA is headed by a person called Kim Min-gil.
Yeah.
He is
the CEO.
Yeah. He worked in SM.
Interesting.
He worked as an A&R in SM or some other division, if I'm correct. And he decided to split out of SM and do his own thing. So what I'm trying to say here is that it is very interesting because a person with a business acumen in one of the biggest entertainment companies in Korea decides to split out and do this is like, what do you call it? It's kind of very interesting to see, but also maybe this model is kind of possible. Like, because of the position of where BANA is in, and because of what they do, many Korean hip hop fans kind of view BANA as like the ideal, maybe what we think as the most ideal hip hop music is possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, maybe we can really do that. Maybe we really don't have to give that much of a focus on charts. Maybe it is possible that we don't have to compromise as much and still make good music, good records, and be proud of it. Just yeah, it's not. We don't have to have that starving artist kind of stereotype anymore. And on the forefront of that, BANA is right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. And Beenzino said he's gonna release a new album called Nowitzki with BANA pretty soon. So
such a sick name.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And, he is referring to the basketball player Dirk.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, okay, okay. So if that comes out, yeah, I'm excited for that. Like, I can't wait to listen to that. So, what, Daniel? What about you? Do you have any other comments in regards to the BANA news?
Man, like I said, I'm still in a state of shock, just because that's the last record I would have think of Beenzino would want to go. But again, what Daytona mentioned, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
for sure.
Beenzino's the type of guy who you don't even see, most of his songs on the charts. Maybe Dolly Von Picasso was probably his biggest hit, but even that wasn't like an all kill, in the charts. So just signing or going to BANA is probably the most plausible and the most obvious choice, and it's crazy because if you actually look at BANA's website, there's nothing on there besides Beenzino's demo track. So if it goes to show you that they're all about, themselves, freedom, there's no limitations or restrictions. So
they know the value of scarcity.
Exactly.
They really do.
So I highly respect that, and hopefully I'm excited for a Beenzino and a Frank collab, a produced song by Frank. Man. So then I'm excited for Beenzino's new career at BANA. Yeah. I wish him nothing but the best.
Mm-hmm. Like, that demo was so great, man. Like, I was scared for a moment when he got out of the military. When he dropped
Okay, Go.
Yeah, when he dropped stuff like when he came out of the military, like, Beenzino's music always had this, like, you might not like it, but there was something different about it always. And when he came out of the military and dropping all these demos, it's like, this is way too safe. Why is he making all this safe music? And then after he announces BANA, and then he drops this Monet demo, and he's doing all these weird beats and crazy flows, like this dirty ass mixing, and it's like, yes, he's back. He's truly back. Now,
agreed.
Yeah, it's like, this is the Beenzino that I always wanted. I wanted Beenzino to be as creative as possible in all fronts, and finally he's back doing that. And going to BANA means, of course, he cannot really be certain of anything, but him going to BANA just reinforces the idea that he's going to tap into his inner super freaky creative artist again. It's just so great to see that. Like, yes, I think Nowitzki is shaping up to be one of the most hyped projects of this year. And it might be a game changer. Who knows? Like, every time Beenzino drops something, people went crazy over it. And like, why? How is he doing this kind of thing? And I think he can pull it off again. Yeah, I think he really can.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all we're gonna discuss about Beenzino going to BANA today. So as we begin to slowly wrap up our show, guys, as usual, any artists or tracks that you guys are currently listening to and would like to share or recommend to our listeners?
For me, I love promotion. It's kind of helping the artist out.
Right.
So I kind of went in a different turn this time around. I went for an R&B song. So I went with a song called Walk in the Night by Moon, and it features Zion T.
I heard that. Yeah.
Bro, I don't know. This song to me is probably one of my favorite Korean R&B songs, let alone Moon and Zion T are probably my top two favorite R&B singers right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't ask for anything else. A Moon and a Zion T collab, come on now.
That's true.
It's just, you just can't go wrong. I mean, the composition and both their vocals are very unique, but at the same time, it fits well perfectly. The cadences, the production to the song, even in the music video, it's just very, I would almost say it's emotional at times because it's very thought provoking. The lyrics are deep, but it's very melancholic. It's calm. It puts you in a deep state of mind. So, and when you're at home all day, there's a lot of stress on you. I think a song like this, I think will help you calm, the nerves down and just kind of help ease the stress away. And like I said, I'm just a big Moon fan and Zion T fan. So if you guys have not heard the song, please go check it out. Walk in the Night.
Walk in the Night. All right.
I have a very old and new music to recommend, I guess.
For sure.
Back in 2010, there was an album called Micro Suit by a rapper called Pento. Pento is one of the most underrated musicians in Korean hip hop history. He was a part of a clique called Salon 1, which is basically responsible for every alternative hip hop that comes out in the Korean music scene, hip hop scene. Like, we just mentioned XXX, right? When we're talking about BANA. XXX wouldn't exist without Salon 1.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. This, like, especially what Pento was a rapper in that clique, and there are many talented people in that crew, but especially Pento. Like, if you think about it, industrial, like in the States, in the Western scene, there was always this fusion of electronic music with hip hop, right?
Yep.
And I think that really began to blow up from a group called the Death Grips, which dropped a mixtape called Ex-Military in 2011. That's when like Kanye began to make music like Yeezus, like that super abrasive electronic shit. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that Ex-Military dropped in 2011. Microsuit does the same shit, but it dropped in 2010, which means that Pento's Microsuit was an album that far preceded the States. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like in the Korean hip hop scene, where they're trying to emulate a lot of the stuff that is happening in the States, Pento was a very shining example of actually going further and being faster than the States when it comes to making creative music. So it is a very celebratory album. And last week, 3 days earlier, he dropped the instrumental version of this album. So anyone who's interested in very abrasive or a little bit pop flavored electronic fusion of hip hop, you have to check out this album, which is, again, Microsuit by Pento. And there's a song called Crystal, which features Beenzino on it. So
interesting.
Check it out. Starts with a K, Crystal, Pento, featuring Beenzino. It's a great track. Like, you're missing out if you don't know him. He's a legend in Korean hip hop that is very underappreciated. Go ahead and check it out. You're missing out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. For me, this is a track that I listen to almost every morning these days. And it's called It's Me by H1GHR. This was actually the track that he submitted for the application video to Show Me the Money 9. And bro, like, I listen to the song every morning when I wake up. I'm just like, oh, good morning. And then I just play this song and then it just gets my day going, So It's Me by Weinstein. Also, go check out the Weinstein's application video to Show Me the Money 9, because like he sings this song when it's raining outside, and it just has this lo-fi vibe that just, it's good, it's the vibes. So yeah, go check it out, guys.
For sure.
Yeah,
the essential chill anthem.
Yeah, chill anthem for sure. Anyways, other than that, like, we have a news, right? We have a news for our listeners.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Not the best, but basically, because of all the things that are going on in my personal life right now, I will step down from the podcast. So it will be led by Daytona and Daniel for the time being. And, like, I may come back in the future as a special guest for something, but right now I can't even post videos in my own YouTube channel. Like, it's been so hectic in my life right now. Back. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for the past 6 episodes. It was truly a pleasure doing this podcast with you guys. Yeah. And
thank you for joining.
Big, thank you for having me. And when you guys become big, podcast, MCs, like, don't forget about me.
We got you. We got you.
Yes. So for those of you guys listening out there, Daniel and Daytona's gonna lead the podcast going forward. But don't forget, about me, as I could, join as a special guest later. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Show Me the One, as well, for more interesting contents about K-hip hop. But yeah, that's all time we have for today. But yeah, please do comment and let us know what you guys think about the topics we went over today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please go and subscribe to our podcast on all platforms and give us that 5-star rating, please. And as I said before, if you want more K-hip-hop juice, go check out my YouTube channel, Show Me the One You Want, and also Daytona's Instagram, MYK_Daytona for the Korean hip-hop reviews. And follow our social media page at Seoul_therapy. This was Juan. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.